Perfect. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Bad Calls, Balls, and Brawls. It's your host, 305 Sports Babe, co-host Miami Lou, and we are like football season ready. This is like the week before Christmas where things are starting to like get really exciting. You start seeing the Christmas decorations go up, and people are just like, it's here. It's here.
Yeah, it's a week from tonight. It starts here. But we don't worry about that game. We're worried about this game. Dolphins on Sunday in 10 days. So
it's here. We're excited to start the season, to the tailgate, to travel. We have our friends already in the chat. Papa Paul, hello to you. Good to see you here. Hope all is well. Can't wait to see you. Papa Paul runs the Florida the West Coast Club. It's a new club up there, so excited to have him. But tonight we have a special guest, somebody very admired in the Dolphins community, very well liked, and I'm super excited to have him on tonight. I know we're biased with our Dolphin opinion. He gives it to us just how it is, and
as it should be.
As it should be. You know, there's no sugarcoating with him, and that's one trait that I really, really like about him is he says it how it is. So I'm really excited to pick his brain tonight, and I'm sure you are too.
I'm thrilled. I'm beside myself because this guy is a South Florida icon, a media legend, and the fact that he's joining us on here tonight, I'm thrilled. I'm of course talking about Orlando Alzugaray, the Big O. You know him from his over 30 years experience in this market.
So he started at 1 year old?
Pretty much. I think so.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Drinking and everything because of being in the media. Yes, exactly. That's what happened. Wait, if you're going to pick my brain, this is going to be a very short show.
Oh. Well, not pick your brain, just to get your insight and to tell the raw truth.
Yeah.
Not much in there. Not much in there.
Well, Big O,
Ashley and Lou, thank you for inviting me. Always appreciate it. Thank you. And it was great meeting you guys also in Ken. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, we're going to talk about it.
We're going to get to that. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of great stories that took place in Canton. Yeah, absolutely. But listen, you've done it all. Like I said, you're a South Florida icon, legend, media member. You've done it all from reporting, columnist, stadium announcing. I'll let you get into that when Ashley preps you here. But you've done it all, and of course, a longtime host, the voice of the fan, I would say. And so, we're thrilled to have you on. So thanks again for being here.
You got it. Appreciate it, man. It's a pleasure, and I love it. And
always say, I love Big O. Another one, Big O. I mean, you're loved. So, but you already know that. So that's the thing.
I'm hated sometimes too. Okay. Trust me. When you hire Joe Philbin, the first thing I tell you, hey, this is going to be a disaster. He doesn't know anybody in the league. He can't build a staff. And then eventually it becomes, at that moment, you hate me. You know what I'm saying? And then when I'm calling Ryan Tannehill, you hate me. So there are moments too, that I get a lot of heat for certain things. And then eventually they kind of like, damn it, he was right.
And come around.
That's funny you say the Ryan Tannehill thing. My boss, who was a chaplain for the Miami Dolphins for many years, as soon as I said you were going to be on the show tonight, and he was like, "That's a huge name." And we've had big names on the show before. We've had Richmond, OJ, we've had many different names. But when I said your name, and he was like, "Ask him about Ryan Tannehill." So we'll save that. But that was one thing that Father Manny wanted me to ask him. I said,
"Okay."
I
just told you.
I know. I was like, okay. But Big O, tell us about your journey.
By the way, it's just like Noah Igbenogany. You meet the kid, and man, you want him to succeed.
Right.
Because such a great young man.
Likeable, yeah.
But then you got to compartmentalize things, and you got to say, oh, man, he can't find it, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? And that was always my problem with Ryan. I just never thought he could ever put it together to be a franchise quarterback. Right. And it's not like I was ever wrong on it. It just, I get it, man. When they're all likable, and Ryan was so damn likable because he sacrificed so much. And so I get it. Emotions get all, and I don't get mad at fans for getting mad at me, but it's just an opinion. And sometimes I'm going to be right, and sometimes I'm definitely going to be wrong. God,
it'll be interesting to see if he is still a starter when they come down here for Monday Night Football. I don't know. That's deep in the season, but see the kind of ovation or boos that he gets. It's it'll be interesting to see that if he's under center for that game.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, Big O, tell us about your journey with South Florida sports. Like, where did it start? Is this something that you always wanted to do? Did you ever want to play? And specifically, how did you, end up covering the Dolphins? Was it ever the thought about the Marlins, the Heat? What was your whole journey? How'd that all start?
Wow, this is a convoluted journey that like most people don't take, and it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm old school, is 33 years. So it was 91. And so I was in a crossroad in my life. I was running a supermarket with my dad, Chrome Supermarket on 197th and Chrome Avenue. We built it from scratch. And so my father fell ill, and basically he was on his deathbed eventually. And so I was going to be stuck running a supermarket. And just to tell you how I ran a supermarket, I had a TV in the front, I had a TV in the back, and there was a sports news network or something like Ed Berliner was part of it back in those days. And anything sports was on in the front and the back of that supermarket. So sports was always in my life. I grew up with my dad, rest in peace, plenty of sports. So I was in a crossroad, and an interesting crossroad was coming. So I had to decide, what do I do? Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And I said no. And I'm in my 20s, and I said, damn, I'd like to try radio. I want to see if I can get into radio and cover sports. I've been a lover of sports my entire life. So I sold the supermarket in January of 91, I believe. And then a year or something later, something happened in September of 92. It's called Andrew.
Yeah, you remember, yeah.
It actually tore right through the supermarket.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
And here's the best part. I lived at the supermarket.
You lost your house.
Because I lived 45 minutes away, and I timed it, and it took me an hour and a half out of my day. Wow. So I built a bed and a shower because I had to be there at 5 a.m. to start the oven for the Cuban bread. Yeah. And I was done counting registers at 11.
Wow.
So by the time I got home and then sleep and then drive back, so just to save my hour and a half of sleep, I built a bed. So I would have been there that night.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
So I leave and I go back to school.
Yeah.
And at the same time as I go back to school in 91, I get a job at WLQY, which is a Haitian station. Okay. I don't know Creole. But I am a producer, and I'm hand signals and 30 seconds break and all that, and they were fantastic. It was awesome. It was a great experience because Haitian people are just hardworking, awesome people.
Yeah.
And I had a really good experience finding out a lot about the Haitian community in WLQY, and so quickly I moved over to WKAT, which was the competing Haitian station, so they wanted me. And they were also half Colombian. So Caracol was part of it. Those were the early days of Caracol in 1360 WKAT. So I ended up working on both, working with the Creole and working in Spanish, and being Cuban, obviously Cuban parents born here, but I know Spanish. So I was able to work on that side. And so I then learned to do producing, Spanish, English, all that kind of stuff. And then on the side, because all they did was sell time, that's kind of the way they made their business. On the Haitian side, they sold it to different Haitian people all day long, and they bought the airtime. When there was empty time for an hour or two, they'd give it to the producers, and then we could go on the air and do whatever the hell we want. And so I would talk sports and call my friends and tell them I'm talking sports and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of my flavor of it. And so I ended up then getting a job at Radio Acción, which was a Spanish station. And I was doing a Spanish sports talk show for 3 hours called La Ensalada Deportiva from 9 to midnight.
Oh, wow.
So, actually it started at 8 first. 8, yes, at 8. That's what it was, 8 to midnight. Sheesh. And so, but it was one of the biggest blessings ever. Not that the station was going anywhere, but the fact that I got the experience of doing it, I was able to then do the Heat and the Canes because they own the Spanish rights to them. So then I got into the media side on that end finally. Nice. So I was really happy because then I was talking with people on the English side then at that time, making connections. So all of a sudden, our station gets bought by Paxson Broadcasting, the same station that has 940 Wins, WIOD, Zeta, Love 94. They were all in the umbrella. And so, boom. So I started doing Haitian and Colombian, and now I go to Spanish and English. So all of a sudden, I'm working for 940 Sports, and I'm doing in the afternoon and in the evening. I am all day working either English or Spanish, both. And so I get to a point where I'm working both languages. And because when they bought our station, they bought 49% of the station. Our owners still had 51%. They inherited the format of 940 Wins. So Pete Bolger, who I love to this day, hired me, and I started working both. And I would do the updates at Wins, which was at 15 and 45 past the hour. I'm Orlando Alzugaray, Win Sports. And I would do the same thing in Spanish. So what I would do is I would do at 15 of the hour, I would do the live one in English, pre-record the one in Spanish.
Okay.
And 40, I would do the live one in Spanish, pre-record the English. So my voice was simultaneously heard on two channels at the same time. And at the same time, I was getting experience covering the Dolphins, the Canes, because I got access to credentials now, and I'm part of the media. And I'm able to go on and so now I'm covering Don Shula, and I'm going, doing everything. It was really freaking cool, and doing the Canes, and back then the media could go down onto the field the entire game.
Oh wow!
So I would walk around, and I mean, it was freaking awesome. We used to have so much access. It was crazy. And Paxson ends up buying the entire station and buying the guy out. And then I end up working at 940 Wins permanently. And then Corey Sabin, who lives out on the West Coast, and God bless him, he tells Duff Lindsay at QAM, there's a spot open, and it's an update guy and backup producing and stuff like that. And I told him, dude, I want that job. I can do that job. And so he got me the interview, I got the job, and then I went on a run for 13 years. And in the process, when I started, I was given the Marlins beat.
Oh.
And it was 97. By the way.
Oh, well, hello. How about that year?
Nothing happened that year.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Here's how it happened. First of all, I left 940 and Radio Acción, Paxson Broadcasting, because I got a syndicated show to do a national talk show in Spanish in San Francisco. So I moved to Tiburon, which is basically Key Biscayne with mountains. If you've ever been to Key Biscayne, that is Tiburon. Well, it's San Francisco. You cross the bridge, it's Sausalito, and then the next is Tiburon. So I lived in Tiburon, and I worked in San Francisco. I only did it for 6 months. They filed Chapter 11. They offered me a job on the English side, but what I did with my wife was I signed a 1-year contract with an option for the second, because they offered me a 2-year deal, but I didn't want to be locked in. I said, let's go through the first year. She stayed here with the house. And I go, if I first year and I like it and everything goes well and I can sign an extension, then we can I didn't want to get her out of the school system. My wife's been a teacher forever now. And so, so we did the right thing. It didn't work out. I came back, and it's funny because I gave 940 Wins a month of notice. And then when I came back, that's when Corey got me the job at QAM. And then the first thing I was given was the Marlins beat in 97. And this was like May or April, May. And from there on, obviously, I covered the World Series year, and I'm, all that. And I had the hockey beat and the Marlins beat. And then when that off season came, I begged them to give me the Dolphins beat. I said, I want the Dolphins beat. I think Donnie Brennan was Jody Jackson was moving on to Arizona. She got a TV gig there, and I think she stayed there. She's been in Arizona forever. And so I replaced her, and I took on the Dolphin beat. And then I started, I started looking around, and I noticed that nobody in the electronic media ever breaks any stories. No radio person, no television. And I go, why?
Yeah.
And then I said, that's because the writers get to go out on the road. They get to go meet people at, at the East West Shrine game and the Senior Bowl and the Combine and the Las Vegas Football Classic and the Orlando Gridiron. And I said, well, I got to start paying my way to go to these things. And then I got to start to know people and scouts and all that kind of stuff. And then, everything grew and grew and grew and grew. And then we got to this now. And now we're on our own and away from that disaster that is radio.
This is a new wave. You're doing it the right way. So, but I definitely want to, I know you glanced at it, but I want to applaud and commend you for doing what you did. The story, it's an infamous story about you paying your own way to go down to the Senior Bowl and go.
Well, bastards at QAM won't pay.
Well, you said it, not me. But
how do you want people to get better if you don't invest in them?
Yeah.
And so if you're not and then how does your business get better if you don't invest in them? So what do you think? I'm going to go on the road out there just to hang. I guess, you know what? A lot of guys probably would go and hang out and do all that, but I'm not that guy. I socialize. So I walk straight up to general managers and scouts and I'll start a conversation. What's the worst thing they can tell me? I don't want to talk to you. Great. Have a nice day. Appreciate you. And I walk away. That's it. You're the one that's a jerk. I walk away and nothing. And eventually I got people to talk to me. I got to know people. I got their phones. I actually got to know people that actually have grown up just like me and have become bigger and bigger in the business in the process. And they're still my friends. And so, that was the only way I was going to break stories. You can't call an agent. You know what I mean? That's why it's funny when you see all this crap on Twitter and Facebook and, I have sources. You don't have jack crap, dude. You got to know agents. You got to, and they don't call you might get their number. They'll never answer the phone. And so I knew I had to get into an agent's face and get in front of them at the Combine, at the Senior Bowl, at the East West, and get their players on and get all that kind of stuff and win them over and win their confidence. And then they can tell me things. And when they see that what they told me, nobody ever found out about, then they tell me something else and something else. And so it goes on like that, but it takes years and it takes investment. And QAM was never willing to invest until Joe Bell. So let's get that straight now.
Joe Bell.
Okay. When Joe Bell took over, the first thing he did when he got there, he goes, I've been listening to you for years. You're no longer paying for your trips. Good. Why? Because he knew the station was benefiting from it.
Yeah.
Because I'm breaking stories. I'm giving insight. People are telling me things. You know what I mean? And so then, okay, so, you're going to make me continue to pay for something that you should be paying for. And at least, you're getting an employee that's actually working for you. You know what I'm saying? Not just going out. Look, any monkey can walk into a locker room and put a mic in front of somebody with 30 other people asking questions and just record it and take the sound back and send it back to the studio. That doesn't take any skill.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry if I insulted people out there. Getting sound doesn't take skill.
No.
What takes skill is getting insight, finding out something from somebody, breaking stories, telling people things that they did not know or they did not figure out, or using my experiences to decipher what is going on and then tell people what's going on. And by the way, I've almost felt like now I've turned into the guy that's in the middle of the fans and the media, because
I can see
it's
that.
like all this crap. Oh, we're Josina Anderson, she's a nice girl and all that.
Yeah.
But she's reporting, they're looking for another quarterback, and that was complete horse crap. And it was complete horse crap. And I had to make sure that everybody knew that it was complete horse crap. And then the other people, Dalvin Cook will be, no, they're not trading for Dalvin Cook. And they're not giving him a big salary. And then we have, and I get it. They all need clicks and they need views and I'm super boring. Sorry, I'm going to tell you the way it is. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what actually is happening. if that's not what you want to hear, then you're going to call me a jerk, and that's fine. We'll move on, whatever. I don't care. But I kind of find myself in the buffer now, so I can, because there's so much bad information out there that you kind of want to tell people, hey, yo, relax. They're not looking for another quarterback. Yo, they're not trading for Dalvin Cook. Notice that they paid their 5 backs less than the Jets paid Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
As Mark says, it's all about the clickbait media. And, you can only get the information that you got by cutting, your teeth out there and grinding in Mobile, Alabama, Indianapolis for the Combine, the Senior Bowl, and you make those connections. And when you say it, people will believe it because it's 9 times out of 10 the correct information.
But we talk about clickbait, and we saw a lot of that this week and then a few weeks ago. Did you think at all in the back of your mind that Dalvin Cook and or Jonathan Taylor were going to come to Miami at any point?
Nope.
Neither one of them.
Wait a minute. Dalvin, I thought there was a chance that he'd accept Miami's offer.
Okay.
But Aaron, forced the Jets and said, you got to boost it up. We don't know if Breece Hall is going to come back, all that crap. So it was Aaron that got them to give him more money. And plus he took less. He took a pay cut right now. He kind of deferred his money for the back end. So they're kind of keeping him happy. And I did not expect them to give him $8.6 million. I thought they would be in the 5-6 range. And I think Miami was somewhere in the 4.5-5 range. Yeah. So with the New York money moving there, he already has a house here, all that I thought if it was $1 million, $1.5 million, he would say, nah, man, it's too expensive to go to New York. I'm going to stay here. But when the Jets upped it, that's where I said the outside shot was gone there. But I thought Miami had him if it wasn't for that. The Jonathan Taylor one, I never thought it was going to happen. Just like, by the way, Dalvin Cook, I also never thought it was going to get traded like a lot of people thought. And then also a lot of people were reporting, the second he's released, they're going to pounce on him. No, they're not. They're not going to pounce on him because they don't pay running backs. I keep trying to. And the Jonathan Taylor thing, I am convinced this whole spat between Taylor and Irsay, this was Irsay flexing his muscles and telling him and the agent, you're not in control here. And they were never traded. That's why the stuff you heard was so ridiculous, because it came from the nutbag, Irsay.
Yeah.
That's why. It came from him. He tells Ballard what to say. Oh, yeah, no, ask them for their best players. That way they'll never accept it. And
they wanted Waddle. Like, did they really think we're going to give up Waddle? Like, I understand, Ugh.
And they don't need the picks till the draft. So there's no hurry.
Yeah.
So it's a way of sticking it to the agent and sticking it to the player and saying, oh, you don't want to play? You don't get paid. Your agent doesn't get paid either. And guess what? We still can trade you because the draft is until April. Using picks now doesn't do anything for us. So It's your decision. You want to play and show people you can play, or you want to sit out and be disgruntled and lose money. See how that worked out for Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
and looking at all these running backs everywhere anyways.
Yeah,
you can trade for Derrick Henry. You could trade for all kinds of backs, Josh Jacobs. You could trade for backs, and nobody does anything. Nobody pays them. Nobody trades for them.
True.
That's why I hate the media click stuff, because they add the drama. Oh, the Dolphins are interested. Yeah, what kind of interest? You notice how nobody said what kind of interest. The only guy that said their interest is low-hanging fruit, like Jalen Ramsey for a third. That's what Chris Kerr's doing, man.
Yeah.
He's awesome. From hanging fruit. He's knocking on the door going, hey, I know you're struggling with the player, man, and, we'll give you a 4th rounder, man. We got to pay him a lot of money. I'm sorry. I can't give you a high pick.
Yeah. So Big O, 10 games, 10 days away from the opener here out in California. And so, but you're at training camp every day. Yeah, I know the record, but it's preseason. Nobody cares about what the record is. That's not the importance. But you're out there every day. What did you like and not like that happened with training camp as we're getting ready for the season here?
Look, here's my problem. I don't think I ever see enough of training camp to really know what a team is. They don't hit enough. They don't tackle enough anymore. So you don't really get a good feel for a team anymore. Their tackling will be sloppy early on, like a lot of teams. This first month of the regular season is kind of used to fine tune, basically. So that's the part media crap out there. Oh, I know exactly what this team is. You're lying. You're lying. You haven't seen enough. They haven't hit enough. We just saw a little bit of the starting five on the offense. Well, 4 of the 5 without Tehran. You know what I'm saying? So we'll find out. I'll tell you, look, this is what I feel about this team. This is the best roster they've had since the early 90s. And if they go out and perform, we're going into the 80s when we're talking about that. That's how good this roster is. It's up to McDaniel and Fangio to figure this out. What I can tell you is there's more talent on this roster than I've seen in decades.
Yeah.
My problem with this team was a lot of the time was it lacked star power. It lacked good draft picks. Now we have the problem that we're going to watch the Dolphins lose players in the offseason because they will not be able to sign everybody.
For the 52-man roster, yeah. You're losing good players. You're losing players that other teams will pick up. For sure.
Now, Miami will get the compensatory picks, which will then become that beautiful cycle that will start that you'll have your drafts and you'll have your compensatory drafts. And these are guys that can find players from the top of the draft to the bottom of the draft and in street free agency, as you saw, with Brooks and Hill and Peely. That they all made the team as undrafted, which, by the way, I called it all 3.
Nice.
Now, this summer, we also, us 3, we took a vacation, right? And
some people in the room, too.
Some people in the room as well. We went to Ohio, right? Other people say vacation in the Bahamas. They go to Spain. We went to Ohio. Why did we go to Ohio? For Zach Thomas's Hall of Fame. It was my first time in Canton. Lou went for
I went for Marino in 2005. I think you were there as well, right? You were there in 2005.
What's he?
Nice.
Oh, how about?
Hold on, I see that.
Dude, they didn't make one of these for Zach. I was asking in the souvenir stand. I said, "Hey, are you making these cardboard with the players?" And he goes, "Oh, I remember that. No, they don't make that anymore." And I was like, "So
I see that, and I'll raise you this. Look at this thing.
There you go.
Yeah,
like the Haunted Mansion. It looks like he looks like something from the Haunted Mansion there.
I was looking forward to getting the Zach one, man, and I didn't. But yeah, here's my Marino from back then. I was that QM actually paid for that trip. How about that?
Oh wow! Look at that. You earned that trip.
Okay,
I think Joe Bell was in charge then, and maybe that's probably. I don't know.
Now in Canton, I mean, it was so awesome seeing so many Dolphin fans there. Like, I knew just on social media that there was a lot of us going, but I personally was not expecting the number that we had there. Of course, there was the most Browns fans because, hello, like, they're right up the street.
They're right there.
Yeah, but, I mean, there was just a ton of...
Let me run this by you. If this is at FAU or Hard Rock or anything, would the Dolphin fans not have shown out even more than the Browns fans?
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, it was crazy. But even the Jets fans, they had 2 inductees going in. I mean, they showed up as well, but we were so represented. And then we put on a great party at Don Shula, but you had this idea. I need to know, like, you pretty much like spearheaded. Then you like sent us the little minions to like spread the news. And we did as Dad said, we spread the news. And then we like all met. And then, so what, for those who don't know what happened, Big O was like, hey, we're all going to meet in the bus area. And we're going to do the Dolphins fight song at so-and-so o'clock, whatever. So we all spread it. And then we all get there. And I'm like, did anybody let the Hall of Fame know we're doing this? Like, do they think we're going to like have like a cult route or something? I'm like, somebody let security know.
I was afraid that we told them they weren't going to let us do it. So I figured I'd rather ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. That's kind of my style. You know what I'm saying? So I figured rowdy and out of, we were in control and all that, and we did it.
We were behaved.
Yeah.
So where did that idea come from? Were you like on the plane? You're like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, or were you kind of think about it? That was awesome. Where'd that come from?
2 years ago was Jason Taylor, or 3? 2.
I was actually, I think it's 2017. Jason Taylor, or was it 20? No,
or 2019?
No, 2019.
Right before COVID.
It was pandemic because the pandemic was affecting it. That's why I didn't go. I know the pandemic was affecting it. I'm pretty sure of that. And so
it was 2017. I'm right. It was 2017.
Wasn't
really?
Pandemic?
Yeah.
No pandemic.
Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't. Why didn't I go to the Jason Taylor was 5 years ago already?
6, right?
It was almost 2014.
Yeah.
6 years. Jesus Christ. damn, time flies. So I know I forgot why I couldn't go, but my idea was we need to go gather around Don Shula's bust and sing the dolphin fight song. I mean, that's something that nobody has ever done. I figured it would be a cool thing for the Dolphin Nation to have. And I said, maybe some of us, some crazy bastards will go along with it with me and we'll get it done. But then I forgot what it was. I didn't go. And so then obviously this time around with Zach, I said, I got to revive this. I got to try to see if we can get this done. And personally, I was kind of nervous that, people really wouldn't show up because they would be kind of ashamed not to do it or say,
stop it. We got
whatever.
you.
Yeah, but it was great. It was great. And it was just one of those things, exactly how I would envision it, except for what I did at the end, which I did not. That was just off the cuff. When I said we start at the Hall of Fame and we end at the Super Bowl, I just felt that was the one that, I had to say that just, because
it was perfect. It was perfect. I mean, you said it excellent. Hopefully that's what's going to happen. I think it will. So, yes.
I feel like this is a Super Bowl team.
So let's talk about that. So we have our 53-man roster.
Well, hold on. Can we just go back to?
You want to talk about Zach?
You interviewed.
He's still there.
You interviewed Zach. I think you were at the Gold Jacket, not the Gold Jacket, the Round Table on Sunday, which was awesome. By the way,
so
right?
good. We were there.
I mean, we were just like all just listening to their stories, like they're up on stage and they're pretending we're not there. They're giving their stories all around. Richmond Webb's name got brought up, which was awesome. At the end of that portion, everybody gets who would you allow in? And Zach said Richmond Webb. He mentioned Kuchenberg and Clayton as well, but Richmond was the big talking point. And that was an awesome event that they put together. You got to interview Zach. I don't know if it was before or after, but tell us about that.
It was before. We were in this side room, and actually all the Hall of Famers were there. And I put the video out. It's on my feed at Big O Show. If you go back, you'll see it there. I posted the video. They all got a crown royal that was engraved with all their names, each of them. Wow. I posted the video. Because I was the only media member in there, so I filmed it all, and and it was DeMarcus Ware. That's his sponsor. And so he made one specifically for each of them. And then they took pictures and all that kind of stuff. And then when that was wrapped up, then I got the opportunity to then interview Zach, because I've known Zach for 96, whatever. So it's 27 years or whatever the heck it is. So I've known Zach forever. And so he and I set it up at that time. And so that was a perfect slot. And we were able to get it done and have some fun. I was just glad. I was happy to be a part of the moment and check it out. I still kind of regret that I didn't go to Jason Taylor, because I really wanted to go to JT one, because I really enjoyed the Marino one. Obviously, Marino's my all-time favorite Dolphin.
Same.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is Marino, is that your all-time favorite?
No, it's not.
That's Lou's as well.
Same thing. And that's why I want to be there for that. But how crazy did Canton change from 2005 to 2023? I mean, it's like an amusement park now. I mean, and more is coming. So when we get more Dolphins in the future,
the water park and everything, we're saying.
Yeah, it's actually pretty. Well, they're smart. They're making it more of a place where you can go get an entire NFL experience, and that's actually a smart move. They are their own entity, and so grow it so that way it becomes so dominant that even the NFL can't ever, kind of push you aside or anything like that. So
smart.
I think it's really, really cool what they're doing. And the Hall of Fame is a beautiful place.
Heaven on earth. Now let's talk about this season. So we have our 50-man roster set. What did I say? I said 53. I said 53. I don't. And I personally wasn't surprised with any of the cuts. I know some people had their panties in a waddle about Chosen, Myles Gaskin. Okay, maybe. But I'm okay with what we have, and you said you like what you see as well.
I think both of those are heavy. They're deep positions, a running back and wide receiver. Now with Jeff Wilson Jr.'s news today, maybe you take that Myles Gaskin move back. But were you surprised by any of the cuts that took place?
Oh no, but you still have three guys for this coming week and then 4 if A-Chain plays.
Yeah, he'll be ready.
So you're fine, even though you don't really you didn't have to keep Gaskin. I like the Brooks kid. He brings something completely different, and I think that was important. The Chosen thing, I predicted that he wasn't going to make it on my show. Why? He's not a football player. He's just an outside wide receiver, and that's it. He's not going across the middle.
No.
He's not going to break tackles. He's not good in traffic, up in the air, that kind of stuff. He's kind of a finesse guy on the outside that just got to get separation. And then he doesn't help you out on special teams
at all.
So Chosen is the kind of guy that if he's not your 2, let's say, on your team, he's really not a 3 because you can't use him as a slot. Berrios is going to be a monster in that position.
Oh, big time. Oh,
we cannot wait.
He's so awesome. But, Robbie is almost like a guy that you have to go to another team where they have a bad number 2 and he can be on the outside.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to become the 4th and 5th and 6th wide receiver, you're going to have to be a different football player. Azukama can run the ball, as you saw, because I've been saying this since last year when they drafted him, that they got him to do end arounds and stuff like that. And eventually you saw it. Craycraft, outside, inside, special teams. So if you're going to be on the back end of the receiving core, you have to have more versatility to your game. I'll give you an example. Duncan Robinson, I complained about him for the last couple years.
I love him.
She does love him.
Oh, I love DR.
You love him, right? But check it out. Before this year, dude, you don't pass, you don't rebound, you don't defense. And so guess what? Did you watch him this year? All of a sudden, Duncan Robinson is cutting to the basket. He's rebounding. He's
Duncan Sniperson. I know.
So he understood, dude, I can't just be a shooter. And that pissed me off about Duncan. It's like, okay, dude, I know you can shoot. What else do? You don't do anything else. This is why you're disposable, because you don't do anything else. And then all of a sudden you saw him. He put his mind to it and he started doing a whole bunch of other things. And I was so proud of him this year because he did that. Robbie Chosen has not grown. He's been that same player since he got in the league. And if he can't fit that role, he doesn't fit any other role.
Agreed. He's a guy that could go for 150 yards on 3 deep bombs, and then he'll go like 6 weeks in a row with like 10 or 20 yards, total. So you're right. Boom or bust, and a guy like that can't be making a team. So
now, 2 guys who obviously, for the most part, Dolphin fans love: Christian Wilkins and Tua. What are your thoughts on the negotiations stopping now until the offseason?
That's the right thing to do. You gotta. It's over now. You can't have that in the middle of it and all that. You got to let it rest. Christian knows what it is. They must be asking for money that's closer to some of these sack guys. These guys are. This is why, this is the hilarious part about the Dalvin Cook crap and the Jonathan Taylor crap and the Saquon Barkley crap and all that stuff. Okay, so you think he's going to trade for backs and pay for backs, yet Christian Wilkins has busted his ass and he still looked at him in the eye and said, "You don't get enough sacks. I can't pay you." He did that to Christian Wilkins. Yeah. Connor Williams went back and said, "No, I want more money." You don't snap well enough. No, you're not getting it. Get back in there. And so this guy's ruthless. Yeah. This guy traded a receiver to Belichick, who then he cut him and then he signed him back after and got a free thing. This is the guy that Bill O'Brien kept calling and adding another first rounder and another first rounder and a second rounder. And I'll take a receiver. And he says, "Okay, now I'll trade you Tunsil."
Right.
Do you know the guts it takes? Do you know it takes the guts of a thief to sit there and say, "No, 2 first rounders is not enough. No, 3 first round. No, 3 and a second round, not enough. No, we'll take off the receiver $8 million. Yeah, okay. Well, all right, we'll do it now." It takes guts, and you think that this guy's going to fold El Tento for a bunch of running backs that nobody pays in the league, nobody trades for. The crap that goes out there in the media and sometimes with fans, it drives me crazy because Chris Grier tells you what he's going to do. All you got to do is look at it. The 5 most important positions in the NFL: quarterback, tackle, pass rusher, shutdown corner, and number 1 wide receiver. What does Chris Grier pay? The number 1 wide receiver, The pass rusher in Ogba, Chubb, Phillips will eventually get his money. The corner in Jones, Ramsey, and X. The who am I missing now? Oh, the tackle, Toronto
Armstead.
And he's waiting for Tua. And what did he tell Christian Wilkins? Bro, you don't fit any of these 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. But Big O, he's not going to get the sack.
What he's going to do.
Yeah.
Just follow it.
Right.
And that's his MO. It's been his MO. He keeps getting backs that are $2 million backs, and you think he's going to pay $14 million? Come on, man.
No. Yeah, you got to wake up. It's true. I hear you.
So I know I have one more question for him, and I know you probably have one more as well. Okay, so AFC East this year is a very, very, very interesting group of teams. I mean, obviously we know the Bills, what they're capable of doing. The Jets are now a hot contender, let the truth be told. And then the Patriots, you can't trust them with anything. What are your thoughts on the AFC East this year? Do you think we're going to have a nice run? Do you think we have that possible shot of, what do you think about the AFC East?
I think the Patriots are completely out of it. Yeah, they'll have a decent defense, but I don't buy their offense for anything. I think Calf Rogers. I grew up as a kid with Buck Rogers from the 21st Century. That was a TV show. So Aaron Rodgers for me this year is Calf Rogers because he's got one bad calf and he just injured the other bad calf and he's got 3 linemen. You Dolphin fans think you've got a bad line? They have a worse line in New York. They actually have a worse line with the Bills, and they could have just the same kind of issues with 2 people on the Patriots line right now. So the Dolphins may have the best offensive line in the division is what people don't realize. I think Aaron Rodgers might be running for his life, actually, which I think might be a problem for an old man like him, and he might end up getting injured. The Bills and the Dolphins will battle for this division. Miami wins this division.
Your lips to God's ears, please. My gosh, we're ready for it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Miami is primed. I think Buffalo is primed to implode, actually, with Stephon Diggs and all the crap that they've got going on there. I see more chemistry here on this team. It's now up to Mike McDaniel. What he can't do is some of the stupid crap he pulled last year, and he apologized for this offseason and apologized to Mostert. He needs to run the ball.
I love Mostert.
And he needs to, when he's running the ball and when he's punching people in the mouth, like he was doing in that Buffalo game, which you could have won if you would have kept running the ball, like in the Green Bay game that you were pounding the hell out of them. Protect Tua, protect your team, make your quarterback better, keep those linebackers on their heels. If you can run, please run the football and punch them in the mouth. You're going to get the big plays. But the big plays will come a lot easier if you're able to run the football. And I'm not telling you they were great last year, but there were moments that they had a groove going. And here goes McDaniel disturbing Stella's groove. And Stella's trying to find her groove, bro. No. And so that needs to be corrected. And I think that's why they kept 5 backs. Not so much about the injuries. I think he says, we're going to run this year more than what we – I came from a running offense. I got a little too pass happy last year. We're going to bring it back a little bit, and we're going to run the ball and get back to a little bit of what we are all about. And I think that's what we're seeing. That's why also they kept Brooks, because I think they want to pound some people too with him because he brings a little bit of a hammer. Mostert said he gained 10 pounds of muscle too. So, he feels – and Mostert last year, I always looked at him as a finesse runner. And he proved me wrong. There were times last year where he delivered the hammer, bro. And that was actually really cool. I think they've got a great receiving core. I think their tight ends are serviceable. I really love Julian Hill out of this group. I thought, that's the kid you want to keep, and they did because he looks more like the better two-way tight end that they have outside of Smythe. I love their defense. They've once they get Jalen back, that'll be amazing. But I still think that Kohu. And I think they hit on Cam Smith. I know the double move. He's a young corner. He's going to make mistakes. Folks, Pat Surtain couldn't find the field the first year. Okay? So relax. I've seen guys that have to grow into the position. Cam has the instincts that we've never seen from Iggy. He just has to get used to people, the way they play, the way offenses attack you. This is part of the education and the process of learning different receivers and how they run routes and how they're trying to sell you one route to another. That's the education that he doesn't have. And the only way you get that is on-job training week in and week out as you watch the film and you prepare from one opponent to the other, and you get to know that whole division and you get to know things and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't have that yet. That's what those youngins have to have. But what he does have, he has the skill set. Cam is the real deal. Like Iggy, I never bought an Iggy because every time you looked at him, it was like, damn it, dude. This kid can play. So I really like this team. And I think they're going to have a pass rush because they're going to have a secondary. Last year, they didn't have a secondary. That affected their pass rush. This year, they'll have a secondary, and they have a much better defensive coordinator, too.
Yeah, so we got two more questions for you. I did want to see in the room here, our buddy Mark is a Bills fan. We'll forgive him on that, but he says that the AFC East is going to be a dogfight. And our buddy Russ Taylor on Philadelphia, he is saying that he wants to know, what do you think Dallas is going to do with Dak? I mean,
come on, dude. They have to stay with Dak. Listen, I'm not a Dak guy. He hasn't proven to me that he can be clutch, but Trey Lance ain't the answer. They made the trade because they gave up nothing, and it's like, hey, why don't we take a chance and maybe new environment, and he figures it out, and this coach, and all that, and that's all it is. They didn't give up much. So and the Niners already paid all the money. The Niners already paid all the picks, all that stuff. Dallas is getting him for what, a fourth rounder?
Yeah.
So I get the gamble on the Dallas part. But he is light years away from being anywhere where Dak is. Even though I may not buy Dak in clutch moments, he's still a decent quarterback, dude. He's still a good quarterback overall. I just worry about, my problem with Tannehill was that when the moment got hot, his brain went scatter. If everything was on point, everybody blocked and ran and he made the first read right, fine. But if there was anything chaotic that happened and somebody busted through the line and then he's got to run and then everything's off kilter and now you've got to ad lib, Ryan was going to be dead in the water.
Yeah.
And the quarterback has to be able to react quickly and answer back to things that you did not expect. And he does not have that. And Trey Lance, my God, he doesn't even have any accuracy.
Nothing.
Yeah. So, that guy's got a lot of problems.
Yeah. But
he's ways away from being a quarterback in the NFL, even a backup quarterback.
Got you. And but for a quarterback to succeed, you also have to have good coaching, right? And so, look, the Buffalo game last year, the playoff game, we should have won that game. I mean, I'll say it. We should have won that game. Skylar Thompson throwing out of his own end zone on 3rd and 19, probably not the best idea. And the play clock
wasn't prepared, bro, for that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that
run the ball there and get that first down.
Exactly.
After that.
And so between that play, which should have, like you just mentioned, should have been a running play, and the play clock running out, how confident are you in two things regarding coaching? That Mike McDaniel in year 2 is going to take that next step to close out games like that and not let them get away. And how confident are you that Vic Fangio is going to make this an elite defense to be feared, and just as he's done everywhere else with the weapons that he has on that side of the ball?
Extremely confident. I'll tell you why. Here's why. Mike McDaniel is actually an intelligent man that understands reasoning. And only an intelligent man that understands reasoning has the balls to turn to Raheem Mostert and say, I apologize, dude. I should have used you more.
Yeah.
Only a man that understands when he makes a mistake, or a woman or anybody, we're all imperfect beings. Yeah. We're all going to make mistakes. And it's his first year of coaching. What'd you think? He was going to push all the right buttons and everything was going to be magical? I mean, he pushed a lot of right buttons, dude.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Was he perfect? He's not supposed to be. It's his first year on the job as a full-time head coach, running the offense and a head coach. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
He's not just a head coach. He's running the offense and he's a head coach. That's a really big monster to take on in your first year. But he's intelligent. Yes. He understands where he screwed up. he looks to me like the guy that's actually going to take input from others and say, you're right. Not Brian Flores, I know everything. Nick Saban, I know everything. Joe Philbin, I don't want to get along with anybody. Like some of the crap that's gone on. Adam Gase in distancing before we even had a pandemic.
Right.
Before a pandemic. That man alone on the sideline, alone on the side. That's how bad that was. That social distancing started in the Adam Gase era, not in the pandemic. Okay? You have that kind of crap when you've got Joe Philbin every week walking into the personnel department saying, I can't coach this guy. I can't coach that guy. And then the personnel department has to get to a point and say, hey, Joe, you got to learn to coach people. They all got different characters. They all got different personalities. They come from different parts of the world. And Joe Philbin couldn't handle it. Just like Flo and Joe Philbin are the same dude. The same dude. They couldn't build a staff and they couldn't get along with human beings. The same exact. It's amazing, dude. It really is amazing. And I don't see that in Mike McDaniel.
No.
I see a man that communicates, that listens, that cares about people, that understands his actions and how it affects them. So if you're willing to think about all of that, then you're willing to understand when you make mistakes. And what he did, I didn't see Don Shula do that, and God bless him. And Don Shula was a monster, but Don Shula wasn't going to admit to you mistakes.
No.
Are you kidding? Jimmy Johnson wasn't going to admit to you mistakes, even though he tells me Barry Shannon was going to be better than Randy Moss. Come on. So guys, I just think that this is a different dude, and I have a lot of confidence. And then Fangio, my God, Fangio's a monster. He's proven he's a top 5 coordinator, top 4, top 3, whatever. Why should we do that here with the talent he has here? He'll get it done. I have no problem.
He coached Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb obviously came in on a trade, didn't really get his feet wet and ready to go, but he was coached by Fangio, did some of his best work under him. Getting the most out of Phillips, who's going to be, like you mentioned, a monster this year as well. Ogba comes back. Just so many things that he has to work with here that, like you said, I agree with you. He will put this defense among the top units in all the NFL.
Now, Big O, I got to tell you, my favorite guy on the team is Mostert. So to hear you praise him so highly, I really, really like to hear, because I've heard both sides of it. Oh, this, that. I love him. I think there's so much more potential, and we're going to see him Mostert 2.0 this year. So I'm glad we're on the same page about that. But
I love Raheem Mostert's game.
I do too. My favorite guy.
He showed me a little power last year. Whoa, all right, dude.
No, he's my guy this year. He even last year, I'm like, he could just, he's going to rush so many yards, and it's what we need to really advance. But as we close up, give us your Dolphin final prediction, a record, and who do you honestly see in the Super Bowl this year?
12-4. Dolphins win the division.
Okay.
Dolphins defeat the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
That is so funny you said that, because one of our viewers.
Well, wait, you had 16 games. It's so 12-4, 12-5, or 13-4.
5. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because Russ Taylor said, "Are we going to get an Ace Ventura Super Bowl?" So you're saying the Ace Ventura Super Bowl?
Yeah, man. I got a house in Vegas. I'm ready to go.
Okay, good, because we were looking at hotels and there's nowhere to be stayed.
Well, we'll just stay with you now.
You guys got to go Airbnb. Don't get a hotel.
This was Mr. Hilton here. He loves his Hampton Inns. It's not free breakfast. He's not staying. So.
Oh no, the best is an Airbnb, because then you can just, when you stay in one hotel in Vegas, they trap you and it takes you forever to get to your car. All that. True. I love going to Vegas, and I get my own Airbnb, and then my car is parked right in front of the driveway. I get out. I can relax. I got a living room if I have to, all that kind of stuff. For me, an Airbnb is the best way to go. That's how I go when I go to Vegas, more often than not. At the end of September, we're going for Showtime for the Canelo fight. We'll be out there.
Wow, sheesh.
Yeah, so I'll be doing the pre and post game show for the Bills on my birthday, October 1st.
October 1st, yeah.
Las Vegas.
Whoa, that's awesome.
That's the only game that I'll be on the road for now.
Oh, no, really? Oh.
Yeah, because I have to be in Vegas for Showtime. So I'm not passing up a free trip to Vegas.
No.
So you're an October baby. October birthday?
Yes, I'm a Libra. Yes,
I'm
I
a
am.
Scorpio. October 24th. I'm the first day.
There you go. There you go.
So you're saying it's going to be Eagles and the Dolphins, and the Dolphins will be victorious in the desert. There, you heard it here. I mean, that's we're going to hold you to that. We're hoping as well. All the pieces are in place, as you mentioned, and it's the only result is that we should be looking forward to.
Yeah, and by the way, great news today on the Tyreek. I was really afraid that he was going to get a 1-game suspension.
Yes.
And not for the slap. The 2 times that they had to hold him back, the anger part. Yeah. That's the part I feared that the league, and I think that's why the last 2 days maybe they were talking to him and whatever, or maybe he had to take some course or something. Who knows what went on? But I was fearful that he could get a game. I told people for the last couple of weeks on that, and thank the Lord he did not get the game. So you'll have Tyreek and Waddle and Berrios ready to go, and I can't wait because I know Tua is going to be. I talked about this on the show today, just to run a little bit. X-Man, if he wants to get paid next year by the Dolphins or somebody else, he's got to ball out. Now Wilkins, if he wants that money, he's going to have to get after those sacks. Austin Jackson, he needs to play well because he wants to prove that he can be a tackle. He's at the end of his contract. And Tua has to prove that he has to stay on the field and stay away from the injuries. Those 4 weapons become very motivated for the Dolphins and for themselves to have great seasons because they have so many other things on the line. So it has nothing to do with anything else that they need to perform at a high level. So it's going to be interesting to watch those 4 because they're going to be ultra motivated to be really good this year.
Absolutely. And going back to Tyreek, now that we know that he's going to hopefully get all 17 games in, can he make a run of 2,000 yards?
No shot.
Just too many balls to go around, right?
No shot. They added Berrios, so they added a real monster. You've got Waddle on the outside, and they plan to run the ball more. Come on, man, do the math.
Yeah,
and it's exciting. Great for the media and the fans. Again, I'm going to be the buffer in the middle and bring the reality of the whole thing. Okay, it's nice for 2, but they're not going to be heavily pass happy like that when they have other guys, and they're going to dedicate themselves more to the run. So if there's going to be more runs, there'll be less pass attempts, and if there's less pass attempts, there's less of a chance to really get to 2,000 yards. It's a great story. It's fun. It's not happening.
It's sexy, but it's not. Well, you guys heard it first. Big O has predicted that it will be Dolphins, Eagles, and Super Bowl this year, and we're here for it in Las Vegas.
I'm getting ripped all over on the chat board. I'm sure.
No. We have a lot of fans right now from our SoCal fan club out there. We have one Eagles fan who's about it. We have a Bills fan who doesn't believe it. And then we have our friend Desi who lives in Massachusetts. So you have the consensus of all of us pretty much, except our Eagles fan.
Surprised that the Bills fan believed me.
No, Mark's good people. We adore him. But Big O, tell our viewers where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you. Where's your show? Give us a 411. Give us a scoop.
You can find us at Big O Radio Show. Now on live, it's Big O Radio Show live every day at 10 a.m. But a lot of the interviews are all at Big O Radio Show on YouTube. So please subscribe and hit the notification bell. You can follow me on Twitter at Big O Show. A lot of the stories, if I have any breaking news or different angles on what's going on and give you a reality, follow us on Twitter at Big O Show. And of course, you can find Big O Radio Show everywhere on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all that stuff. And we load up the podcast after we record the show. We do it live, by the way, every day. It's a live show that then is podcasted after. So check it out and appreciate all of you out there for supporting us. And go Dolphins.
Definitely, guys. So be sure to give them a like and follow.
Tua.
Is that the salty Tua? No.
I'm the salty guy. Here, I'll give you a little J feed.
Well, Big O, we loved having you on the show tonight. It was really great to obviously, see you in Canton, see you at training camp, and to just sit down and have a conversation with you and to really pick your brain. I said in the beginning of the show, what I love most about you is you say it how it is, right? You don't sugarcoat things, and that's something that unfortunately it is really it's hidden because people play favorites and stuff. But
he's real. He's Big O invites people to come up during training camp.
You just like him because your middle name's Orlando.
Well,
that's the only reason. And you're Cuban too, so that's the reason. Yes. Okay, don't lie.
but besides that, no, really, you are the voice of the fan. You are one of us, and yet you have all the media perks as well. So it's just tremendous what you've done following your career. It's just thank you so much for joining us. We're thrilled to have you on. Yeah. And any parting shots? I know that we
guys, anytime you guys need me, I'm here. So
thank you.
Looking
forward to go.
Do one when we're in Vegas for the Super Bowl week.
Absolutely.
As long as you have his breakfast, because he doesn't like his non-free breakfasts, so you got to make that happen.
Big O, any parting shots? We talked primarily Dolphin football, but other stories in town. The Marlins have fizzled out. Of course, we got Messi mania. The Heat's coming up too, as well as the Panthers. You talk about all that on your show. Quick word on all those topics right there.
I'm expecting Lillard to get here late September, right before the training camp, because then they want to avoid that mess. If you remember Dwight Howard and Van Gundy from years back, you want to avoid all that kind of stuff. So
magic, yeah.
I think these idiots are holding off till the end. Marlins, God bless Bruce Sherman, but he just doesn't have enough to really compete.
5-1 tonight, right now. 5-1. We're holding in the top of the 8. So let's see if we can maybe take 4 from the Nats this week. So let's just see how that goes. That'd be nice.
It would be nice, but they just don't have enough oomph. And by the way, they probably shouldn't have turned down the Moss family. That probably was the. Yeah. I don't think Major League Baseball cares about us because they give us Loria and Sherman, 2 billionaire. Well, one wasn't a billionaire. The other one is now. But they're both billionaires now after he sold the team. But 2 guys that didn't have the kind of money to compete with the big boys. So it's a real shame. But what the Moss family is doing, building a stadium for fun in Fort Lauderdale until they build the real stadium in Miami, that's ridiculous. Nobody does that. And to bring Messi is amazing. And the Panthers, I think, are headed for another great season.
Yes.
Hope they could get over the hump. I like the direction of all our teams, except for the Marlins, because I don't think they have what you need to get over the hump. Unfortunately, fiscally, you just can't cut. I get it. You want to be the 03 Marlins or the 2016 Royals, that everything fell into place and a bunch of young guys had a title, and lightning in a bottle can happen every once in a blue moon. It happened to us once. I don't expect it to happen ever again. You need money to compete, and that's the only thing that's wrong with the Marlins. But outside of that, and Canes football, I don't think 7-8 wins this year. I think Mario will take that next step. If he gets 9, then he and his staff must have done wonders, to be quite honest. It's going to take a little bit. I think in years 3 and 4 for Mario, that's when I'm really excited, because that's when all his players have been in the system now for 3 to 4 years. Their bodies and their minds have built up, and that's when they can start to be a force. And when you're in year 4, now you can teach the kid in year 1, which they don't have that foundation and that rotation going on right now, because they've never had it in 20 years anymore, because they destroyed that cycle. And that's what Mario is building, that cycle again. But it takes you 4 years to start to the beginning of that cycle.
Rome was not built in a day, so
that's where we're at. Yeah, that's where we're
at. Without going into crazy, whole, because it's college football. Speaking with all these conference moving, Stanford and Cal probably coming out to the ACC. All these teams from the Pac-12 going to the Big Ten. What's your thought on that? I mean, I think it's lunacy and it's total greed, and it's horrible. How are you going to be a fan on the West Coast having to watch teams coming over and starting games at 4:00 and vice versa? It's just, how is this? It seems so wrong.
Well, I feel bad for those people because their conference got completely obliterated.
Yeah.
What they all grew up with out west, it's gone.
Done.
Like the Pac-12, Pac-8, Pac-10, whatever it was, it no longer exists, and that's a real shame. And again, all the rivalries, they're disappearing, and that's because it's just all about money and build up the power conferences. And the ACC really dropped the ball because they waited too long to add teams. Okay, so you were stuck with these contracts. You should have had the foresight already to jump on a couple years back and start adding teams. You allowed the SEC and the Big Ten to get way ahead of you, and now you're basically getting the leftovers.
Exactly.
And I get it. You're adding. You're also an academic conference, so you're adding a couple academic teams too at the same time. So it kind of fits what you do and all that. But are we talking about academics or are we talking about money? What are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? So, in the end, it's the Big Ten and it's the SEC that are going to be printing way more money than the ACC. They really dropped the ball. They really dropped. Now, all is not lost, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yes, because again, people want to throw out there and create dramatics when there doesn't have to be. Okay, in the end, can still recruit top players. You got NIL. So you're going to be able to get top players. What you have to do is get back to winning and showing that you can put players in the NFL. Yeah. And when you were an independent, that you weren't in any conference, you were kicking everybody's ass. And then you were forced to join a conference because nobody wanted to play you anymore because you were too good. So whatever conference you're in, get back to being too good. So when you get to the playoffs, it doesn't matter if it's the Big Ten or the SEC, you're still kicking their ass. And if you get back to kicking their ass, then you'll get back to being on top. So all is not lost. It's up to the coaching staff. It's up to the program to build a top-notch program. That's it.
Yep.
Definitely. All right. Well, we appreciate you hanging out. The Marlins are still holding 5-1. So I'm going into this thinking we're going to have
stuff. Don't torture.
Big O, I'm Miss Positive here. I'm thinking we can pull something out. I know we have the Phillies after this, and then the Dodgers. It's not going to be easy, but I'm still holding. Everyone keeps saying, Ash, give up on baseball. It's football season. I'm still holding on to my hope. But anyways,
soccer season.
That's right. I love my Marlins. I really do. I'm very emotionally attached to them.
The Marlins have just now fallen off a cliff now for every summer now. Messi is forget about it. Can you imagine next season how this thing is going to be? The Marlins better do something because they're going to be completely forgotten.
Yep.
I know.
Back page news.
We'll still renew our season tickets. We'll still be there. We'll still go for at least the foods. But anyways, we appreciate you coming on tonight. We're just as excited for the football season. We sure hope that your prediction is your lips to God's ears and that we do get a Super Bowl this year because I'd die happy if we ever make it to the Super Bowl. When we make it to the Super Bowl, not if, when. So guys, be sure to give Big O a follow, subscribe his channel, his show, everything on Twitter. Again, let him know where you're at.
Big O Show on Twitter, and then Big O Radio Show on YouTube, and Big O Radio Show Live, because that's where the live shows are at. And then we put all the interviews and everything at Big O Radio Show, and you can get it all condensed there.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you. Have a good night, and fins up.
Fins up.
Thanks, Big O.
Bye.
So that